So guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be doing a tier list on all Stranger Things characters, just because, it's my favourite show and the characters are amazing. Alright, starting off with Henry Creel, which is his human form, not Vecna. I'm going to put it in B because I like the way that they told the story about how he's Henry, he's also one, and he's also Vecna. Right, I thought that was really interesting what they did, and, he's an alright character. He doesn't have much. The human version of him isn't isn't one of the main characters, obviously, but still good enough story. Next is Alexei. I'm gonna put him in B just because once again, not much to do. Like, not one of the main characters of the show, but still a good story in season 3, and honestly still really enjoyable. Next, Angela. Angela, there's no character I've ever wanted to die more than her. Next is Argyle. I'm going to put him in A just because, provided some quite funny scenes in season 4, but other than that, not much to do. He's a really funny character, and some of his scenes with, like, Jonathan and Mike, especially, were, like, really, really good. And I like the scenes where, for example, Mike, Will, and Jonathan all have to start shouting at him because he's acting so silly and stuff. They're quite funny scenes. And next is Barb, instant D tier because she died within the first 3 episodes. She just wasn't enjoyable in my opinion. Next is Benny, right? I'm pretty sure that's his name, right? Season 1 died within the first episode, but some of the scenes with Eleven, they were quite nice. They're quite fun. Next is Billy. I'm gonna have to put Billy in A, just because, he's not one of my favorite characters in season 2, but as we get into season 3, he's a bit better. He's less of a bully, and he's just he's quite a good character in season 3. Season 2, Bob. He was only in season 2, but he was such a great character for that one season he was in, and I think he died in the second last episode or something, but that doesn't really affect the fact that he was only in one season. That doesn't really affect the final episode that much, but still, he's such a great character. He didn't really affect much in the show, but once again, such a great character. If I could choose any 2 characters to come back, it'd be him and Eddie. Next is Chrissy. I'm going to put Chrissy in B, just because, she's enjoyable, her scenes are quite good, and her with Eddie is, amazing. I wish we could see more of them together. But, obviously, she died in the first episode, so I can't really say best in the whole show or something like that. Next is the Demogorgon. I'm going to put it in C, only because I only actually found out about Stranger Things because I heard, people talking about Demogorgons online and stuff. So, Mum, please stop dropping stuff and, moving stuff around. You're making too much noise. Anyway, next is Brenner. What?
Cruising.
What?
Cruising.
Oh, shut up. Next is Brenner. I'm going to put Brenner in B just because, he's kind of like a main character in season 1, and in season 4, he's a character that's important, I guess, to the story. I do think in season 4 he's sort of he's a better character because he's actually trying to look after Eleven and trying to get her powers back and stuff, trying to help her protect her friends. But in season 1 he just seems like a villain, and it's just not enjoyable any of the scenes with him. Oh, I accidentally moved Argyle up to S. Next is Dustin. I'm gonna easily put Dustin in S. He's just one of the best characters, and he just gets even more enjoyable each season, and honestly, he's just such a great character. Next is Eddie. Eddie, for the one season he was in, he was absolutely fantastic. Somehow they managed to pull it off, a character being in one season and still being one of the best characters in the show. And I just want to say, before we move on to the next character, I am going to move these about in at the end of the video. So let's just say you're wondering, oh, why is Henry above Alexei? Right? That's because I haven't, sorted out my final ranking yet. Next is Eleven, another S tier. Somehow I've got 3 S tiers in a row. But that's just because Eleven, main character, obviously it's going to be one of the best characters in the show if it's the main character. And although I do think Eleven doesn't have much like the character development. You know, obviously she gets a bit more like, I guess, confident, and you know, she talks more as the show goes on. I feel like, you know, she kind of acts similar throughout most of the seasons. I feel like she acts similar throughout most of the seasons, so she doesn't really have much character development. Whereas someone like Steve, you know, in season 1 he's a bully, and then in season 4 he's like one of the best characters, one of the most kindest characters and stuff. And I do not even know this character's name. I don't even know. I'm going to put it in B. I didn't really enjoy most of his scenes with Hopper and stuff like that. I enjoyed some of them, but other ones, like, I didn't really enjoy his scenes with him. But, you know, he's an alright character. I'll put him in B. Like, you know, some scenes are good, some scenes are bad. You know, it's a bit of a mixture. But, you know, in the end, he does have a role in Hopper escaping. So, you know, you got to give him something for that. Next is Erica. Erica, I'm going to put in A. I feel like, you know, she has some funny moments where, like, she's, you know, where she... So, for example, in season 4, or in season 3, like, Murray says that she's, like, 4 or something, and then she goes, like, mental on him or some crap. She has some funny scenes, is basically what I'm trying to say, with some different characters. You know, and she can be quite smart in some scenes where, like, it's, like, honestly, she has some funny scenes, and she can be smarter sometimes, you know, she can help out the gang sometimes, right? So I feel like, you know, A tier's a good spot. Next is Mike's little sister, Holly. I'm going to put her in D just because, you know, she isn't a main character. She doesn't appear a lot. She actually probably appears one of the least in the show, or at least out of this list. That's just because, you know, she's about 6 in season 4, so, you know, she isn't that old, so, like, you know, she doesn't have a big role. Next is Hopper. Another easy S tier. S tier is going to get filled up easily by the main characters. Now, I do think Hopper, easy top 5, but I think he stays around about 4 or 5, doesn't really swap around that much, just because, you know, I have the characters that I enjoy more and the characters I enjoy less, so, like, you know, he stays around the same spot, and that's only because he's a really, really good character, but also, you know, he isn't top 3 in my opinion. I have no idea what that has got to do with his character. His character's amazing, by the way. Isn't this one of Angelo's friends? I'm going to put him in D, honestly, just because I'm pretty sure it is not enjoyable at all. Anyway, Jason, D, just because there's no reason for him to keep, like, chasing Eddie, because, like, he had no real evidence that it was him other than Chrissy being in Eddie's trailer when she died. Which, you know, you gotta have more evidence if he wants to try and kill him. Next is Jonathan. Jonathan, I really wish I could put him in S, just because, you know, he's one of the main characters. You see him a lot. And I do think he's a great character in season 1 and 2. And a little bit in 3 and 4, he's still quite good. But I'm going to put him in age, because in season 3, he's quite boring to watch. Season 4, you know, he's a bit better, and there's some good scenes with, like, Mike or Will. But, you know, he isn't one of the best characters in the show. Next is Joyce. Joyce is another easy S. You know, best mum in the show because, you know, she's the main mum in the show. I think she is a great character, and, you know, she has really great scenes with, like, Hopper, Elle, and Will.
Me too.
What are you on about, Mum? Next is 08, or 8, you know, whatever you want to call her. C tier, just because she has a small storyline in season 2, and I feel like if they continue on, then, like, she could end up being a good character if they continue on in season 5 in a good way, and, you know, make the season 2 storyline a bit better. She could be a bit higher, but I feel like I'm just gonna put it there just because, you know. Nah, actually D tier, just because, you know, she isn't a great character. She only appears in 1 episode. Next is Karen Wheeler, and Mike's mum. I'm gonna put her in C or B. C, just because, you know, obviously this, like, one of the like side characters that has the biggest roles in the show, and I feel like, you know, some of the scenes with, like, you know, her and her family, like, are quite good. Next is you already know it's instant D. Next is Lucas. I used to think maybe A tier, but now S tier 100%. Season 4, in season 4 he's 10 times better than the rest of the seasons, and in season 1 I did find him kind of annoying, but in season 4 he's 10 times better. Next is Max. Max is another easy S tier. Max has been one of my top 3 since the first time I ever watched Stranger Things. Which she's just an amazing character. Mike, a lot of people have put him in A, but I'm gonna put him in S just because I feel like season 1 and 2 he's obviously better in. Season 3 he's alright. He's a pretty good character still. Season 4, I don't really get why people hate on him, like for not calling Will enough, because if you really think about it, Will could have also called him a lot as well, right? Instead of all the blame being on him, they could have both called each other more. So I don't really get why Mike is hated for that and not Will. Next is the Mind Flayer. C, because creates an interesting villain for season 3, but also it doesn't really speak, so I can't really say it's like best character or even top 10. Next is Murray. I'm just dying. I'm gonna put Murray in A or S. I want to put S, but I just don't know because he wasn't really in season 2 that much. At least from what I remember, he wasn't in season 2 that much. And then season 1, I don't think he was in at all. But season 3, he's really enjoyable, has some funny lines, and same with season 4. Remember, A, if I do put him in A, that it's still great character, and I'm probably going to put him running about the top of A. I'll put him in A for now. It might change later. But just for now, he's A. Next is Nancy. Nancy is probably one of the easiest S's I've given ever. Like, just because, she's so good when she has a shotgun, especially. But like other than that, like she's like every time she's in a scene, I just find it really enjoyable. Season 3, I feel like is her worst season, and she's still absolutely fantastic in season 3. Season 1, she's a bit annoying at points, but she's also one of the most enjoyable characters in the show. Like when she's not annoying, if that makes sense. In season 1, so in season 1, she can have some scenes where like she's really annoying, but she can also have some scenes where she's like one of the best characters in the show. Next is Robin. Her and Steve get a great duo. Her and Nancy as well, and I'm gonna have to put her in S 100% just because she's such a great character, especially because she only got introduced a season before, a season before this current one. Next is Sam Owens, I think his name is. Yeah, and then I'm gonna have to put him in A just because good side character, obviously not one of the main characters of the show, but good side character. And I think season 3 in a couple of scenes. Season 2, he's there quite a bit, and season 4 he's there quite a bit. He's quite a good character. I enjoy most of the scenes that he's in. And yeah, next is Mr. Clark, the science teacher. One of the best side characters in the show, honestly. I wish he was in season 4, and and I hope he's in season 5 in a couple of scenes. In season 1 and 2, he has some good lines, and he's quite a good side character. Next, what's that? That's the Mind Flayer, like the Mind Flayer, the cloud one. I'm gonna put it same as like the Flesh one, like the melted people one, if that makes sense. Exploding rats, Mind Flayer. Just because I don't really know what way I'm gonna put them around at the end, but I think the reason I'm gonna put it there is because once again, has an important role in like season 2, especially. I feel like obviously it doesn't speak, so I can't put it that much higher, but it has an important role. Next is Steve. This is honestly, I genuinely think the easiest test I've ever given. Steve is just a fantastic character. I cannot believe that he went from one of the worst characters in the show to easy top 3. Next is Susie. I wish Susie was in the show a bit more. You know, good side character, good with Dustin, and has a good scene in season 4, a good episode in season 4. But you know, but obviously she isn't in for the whole series, and you know, isn't one of the main characters, so can't really say she's one of the best. Next is Ted Wheeler. You know, he can't really. I'm gonna put him B just because, you know, some people find him annoying, and in the show he might not be the best dad in the world, but you know, he's just a dad. He's just trying to be a dad. I cannot even remember this character, so it must be quite forgettable with D tier. Next is Vecna. Really, really good villain. I'm not going to put S. Just because, you know, it isn't in all 4 seasons. You know, good, really great villain. Top tier villain, right? If I was doing a villains tier list, top tier villain. And has good story, background, right? But I'm not going to put him S just because, you know, he isn't... I'm not, like, going like, oh, come on, I really want to see another scene from this guy. Like, you know, he isn't like that type of enjoyable. Next is Victor Creel, C tier, just because, you know, he in season 4 he does help with the, you know, finding out who Vecna is, and you know, his little like scene with Nancy and Robin was quite good. Next is Will. I feel like it would just be disrespectful not to put him in S. Just because, you know, he was a main kid and you went through like a lot, and you know, he like a lot of the scenes in season 4 and season 3 I really enjoy with him. You know, some of the best scenes in them seasons, and even season 2 and season 1 I love him with Mike. Next is this guy. I cannot remember his name. I'm gonna put him C though, just because, you know, he's all right, but obviously not, you know, one of the best characters in the show. Okay, I'm gonna keep, so now by the way is the ranking. I'm gonna keep this one in last, then Angela, then 8, then yeah, anyway, next is Holly, then him because he isn't as annoying as Angela, then Barb, then Jason, because Jason, you know, he's the most enjoyable out of the entirety of D tier. I'm gonna put that Mind Flayer at the bottom, then that Mind Flayer, just because, you know, they can go either way around, really, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to swap them around. I can't remember his name. I'm going to swap Victor Creel with him. Next is the Demogorgon, because the Demogorgon, you know, there's a cool fight scene in season 4 with the Demogorgon and Hopper. Then it's Karen. I'll put it at the top, and Benny. Just broke Karen. Oh, I'll put Karen above Ted. I'm going to put Ted back in this tier and below Benny. Anyway, next is... what's his name again? Can't remember. I'm just going to keep him at the bottom. Then Henry Creel. Then Brenner. Oh, Chrissy, I'm going to have to put just below Alexi, but they could go either way. Next is this tier. I'm going to put Mr. Clark at the bottom. Then... boom. I'm going to put Erica there. I'm going to put Billy there. Vecna will stay there. I'm going to put Murray at the top, then Jonathan. And then Bob and Argyle could go either way, but I'm going to have to go with Bob for now. Alright, S tier. I'm going to have to go with Will at the bottom, then Lucas, then Mike. Because I've genuinely really enjoyed Mike since the first episode in the first season. He's just been one of my favourite characters since then. This stuff, I'm going to have to go to Robin next. Then I think Nancy. It's either Joyce or Olivia. I think I'm going to have to go with Olivia next. Just because Joyce, you know, she has some great scenes, and the acting from the actor is just amazing, right? And like in season 1, she's absolutely fantastic. You know, the acting is perfect. In 6th, 5th is Eddie, and 4th is Hopper. Those two could go either way around any day of the week, right? And it used to be Eddie, my second favourite, Max, my favourite, but now it's swapped. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going to instantly go Steve at the top, just because, you know, that's how it is at the moment. Steve's my favourite at the moment. but it could really just like go any way out of these three, like because these three, you know, they're I guess they're just kind of at this point tied at the top. I'm gonna have to go Dustin, then Max, or Max and Dustin. I'm just gonna go Dustin and Max just because Dustin, you know, one of the original kids, you know, and he's really smart and like you know he has a great scenes with Steve and like every character. Anyway, guys, that is the end of the video there. Hope you guys did enjoy it. If you did, make sure to smash the like button. See you next time. Goodbye.